Hey guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Carnivore channel. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm just going to get right into everything. I had said in yesterday's video that I was going to post a video about everything that's been going on with me and everything that is sort of the symptoms that I'm dealing with since getting off of a carnivore diet. And again, I just want to say thank you very, very much for everybody who takes the time to watch this video. We got your comments yesterday and it was so nice seeing you guys and hearing from you. It's just been too long and it's been wonderful to actually get to see you guys again. And thank you so much for just being here with us, with me, and listening to everything that I have to say. I just appreciate it with everything I have. I really do. So, first thing I want to address before we get into the full-on everything that's going on is basically just my hair, for one. You couldn't actually see it in a lot of my old videos, but I had hair that was down to basically my lower back, like all the way down, and I have had long hair pretty much my entire life. Like, I never cut my hair when I was really little. I'd get it trimmed, but once I got to being an adult, I had some things happen in my life, and it, just like everybody does, you have some things that happen to you, and I was one of the people that I couldn't deal with them. I couldn't deal with the stresses that I had been put through because so many things seem to happen in such a short amount of time. I'll make a different video on that at some point when I get just a little bit more comfortable to share that kind of stuff. But, anyway, long story short, lots of stuff happened. I got very depressed, I got very lazy, and I just stopped taking care of myself. I flat out just stopped. I didn't exercise, I didn't, eat right, I didn't care what I was eating, I didn't care what happened to me. I would not care about anything that would have happened to me. Which, looking back on it, is absolutely terrible to say, because I have so many people in my life that I love and I care about, and even if a lot of bad things did happen, it hurts to know that there was a time where I couldn't exactly bring myself to care about them enough to care about me. And that's definitely something that I want to change, and I'm working on changing. So yeah, the hair was the first start. I had incredibly long hair that I had just let completely go. You'll see that my hair was always slicked back in my videos because I just kept it in a ponytail. I never did anything with it. I never styled it. I never cut it, nothing. So a couple of months back, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead, chop it off. Just chop it all off. Maybe symbolically, if I could get the weight off of me with my hair, then maybe that would make it a little bit easier for me to deal with more serious problems, I thought that would actually help a lot. And then some of the things that I talked about in yesterday's video happened, and I got back off track and whatnot, and it got to the point where I have just not gone to get it cut. It was a little shorter than this, not so much on the top, but the sides are definitely just getting out of control. The ponytail is trying to come back, so I need to go and get that cut. But I was looking in the mirror yesterday and I was thinking about it, and I was like, not that I want to spend forever talking about my hair, but I think a big thing that some people have a little bit of trouble talking about when it comes to their diet is not just the fact that you end up letting yourself go, but just, how do I want to put this? Just how much your appearance, even if it's just a little thing, I haven't gotten a haircut in a few, 3 months, I think it was, how much that can really pile on, and it's like a drop in the bucket, they say, but if you're constantly carrying the bucket around, those drops are going to pile up and they're going to matter. If you never learn how to put the bucket down or deal with it or give yourself a cup to start scooping it out. Anyway, I am rambling, but just wanted to let you know that's what's going on with my hair. And it may look greasy, but for some reason, since I got it cut, and if anybody knows why this could be, please share it with me down in the comments. But since I got it cut, it's like I almost can't go 2 days without a shower. I usually shower every other day. Or at least I wash my hair every other day. But now it's like by the next day after a shower, it's already looking greasy and whatnot. I don't know if it's just because the oils don't have as long to travel or what, but it's crazy. Anyway, so getting off of the topic of my hair, thank you if you sat through that, and if you fast forwarded, I completely understand. I might put timestamps down for when I can get off that topic, but I think it is an important topic to maybe have a conversation about in the comments, just how your appearance and how well you can take care of yourself actually affects your day-to-day struggles with bigger concerns like your diet or your exercise or just other ways that you take care of yourself. If you have opinions on that, I would absolutely love to hear them. But moving on from that, I want to give just a little bit of backstory for anybody who's new here. And if you are new, welcome. I am the Chaotic Carnivore. I'm chaotic because well, the fact that I have 50 different ways to answer that question should answer it for me. But, anyway, to give a little bit of backstory to anybody new or anybody who just wants to brush up and doesn't want to look back through old videos. Back in November of last year, I had been doing a really kind of strict carnivore, and I had done it for roughly 3 weeks. It doesn't seem like it was a very long time, but it was a lot, and I was very, very dogmatic about it. And I had been getting really good results and everything. And then there was a day around Thanksgiving. It was like a week before Thanksgiving. I decided that I was just going to stop. Started with like some bags of chips from the store, and I lost my self-control. Just started, we made cookies and a bunch of other things to have before Thanksgiving would roll around. And I was like, oh, that'll be no big deal. I can just enjoy some here and there. And, I can stop anytime I want. I'll get back on the diet. I did that whole thing. Oh, the holidays are coming around. I'll eat a little bit here and then I'll get right back to it. Guys, if I am being 100% honest, if you want to know the food-driven depravity I would subject myself to, on the day that all of this started, I distinctly remember I had eaten like 3 cookies, an early plate of food from some of the Thanksgiving stuff we had already made. I couldn't even wait until the holiday. I had eaten all that. But the more shocking thing is I had drank, I think, 4 sodas. This is all within the span of an hour, by the way. 4 sodas, and then I don't know if you've ever seen at the Dollar Tree or maybe like on like in any store really, they have these giant glass mugs that you can obviously pour your drinks in and whatnot. Guys, I had filled that thing with half of it was filled with whole milk, which I have no problem with whole milk, but that's a little excessive for one drink. And the other half was filled with coffee creamer. Coffee creamer. I am being as honest about this as I possibly can. It is very embarrassing, but I think it is very important to tell you guys exactly how bad things were at that point. So 4 cans of soda, 3 cookies, a whole plate of food, and a giant mug filled with milk and coffee creamer. And I chugged all that down. And at the time, both of my roommates were doing night shifts, so I was the only one awake. I was the only one awake in basically a dark house, trying to figure out what to do with myself until 4:30 in the afternoon when they would wake up. Well, I had decided that while I waited, after I had all that food and drink, I was going to go to my shower, which, if you saw yesterday's video, I told you my house had been like mold infested, and they hadn't attached the shower itself to the walls, so there was a big space, and this is a very, very old house. So the mold was actually growing up behind the panels, and then it would come into the shower. It was terrible. So I decided that day, after I had all that stuff, I was going to go into my bathroom and I was going to scrub it. I was going to get some solution. Like, I think we had a bleach mix with something. I don't remember. But I was going to try to get rid of all the mold. And I did that. Didn't wear a mask. There wasn't a very good amount of ventilation in there. Stupid on my part. Don't ever do that. If you don't know any better, wear a mask, open a window, something. But it's just one in a long list of bad choices I had made. But I did that, scrubbed in there for probably a good 30 minutes, and then I went and sat down for like an hour until the alarms finally went off for my roommates to get up. Well, they got up, and as I got up off the bed to go in and meet up with them, my chest just got really, really tight, and I started having these really bad, like, palpitations going on. And it was so intense. It sent this shock of adrenaline through my entire body. It scared me so badly. My whole body started shaking. Those palpitations went on for a good 45 minutes. I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, should I call 911? I was terrified of what, like, an ambulance would cost or anything like that. We're not going to get into healthcare system or anything like that right now, but I was just terrified. I didn't know what to do. So I sat and I tried to wait. I was like, I just had a lot of soda. I just had a lot of food. I did some strenuous activity for a while. Maybe this is just, I pushed past my limit. And after 45 minutes, I couldn't take it anymore. My hands were sweating. My entire body was sweating, like I was shaking. I couldn't stop. The feeling wouldn't go away. And I honestly just... If you've ever had heart palpitations for longer than like 10 minutes, you're really debating if you're gonna make it through the next like couple of hours. So anyway, I finally decided, my roommate was like, you know what, that's it. I'm taking you to the hospital. We're not waiting anymore. So we jumped in the car and we headed up there. And in hindsight, I should have called the ambulance because, impulsive, fear should never stop you from having the proper help you need. And looking back on it, if I could do it again, I definitely would have just called an ambulance, because if there had actually been something that had happened, if I was having like a heart attack at that point, they would have had the equipment to be able to help me, not my poor roommate who was, worried enough trying to just get me to the hospital. So definitely another mistake on the list. But once we got there, it was maybe like 10 minutes after we showed up, of course, and then the palpitations kind of like subsided. And they took me back anyway. They did the EKG, they did blood work, they did everything, and they kind of came back and they were like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with you. It's absolutely nothing wrong. You seem fine. Everything seems fine. So I got cleared and I went home terrified because I still felt terrible. I didn't know what was going on. And it happened again without as much of the palpitations, but this happened again a couple days later at Thanksgiving. I was in the middle of eating my plate of food, and all of a sudden just the adrenaline shot through my body, and it almost had me on the floor. I felt like I was going to pass out. I was so dizzy. I was shaking, like everything was terrible. And again, I went to the hospital. They ran the same tests, and this time they told me that my blood sugar was somewhere like 380 something, I think. Yeah, it was a long time ago now, but it was close to 400. And they ended up telling me that the last time I had come in, it had also been close to 400. And they just didn't tell me that the first time. So they had just sent me home. Basically, I was having like almost a diabetic attack and nobody told me. But so the second time, they ended up prescribing me metformin to try to help get my sugar under control. And I immediately got a family doctor, because third mistake, I hadn't had one at that point. I didn't have a doctor to talk to. I had just never gotten around to actually doing it. But this put my butt in gear, and I got a doctor as quickly as possible. And as I said in yesterday's video, he knew about me potentially wanting to do this diet. Like, I was straight up with him as soon as I had my first intake appointment, and he was very supportive of it. And we basically talked about my blood work and my diabetes and everything. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And so I went on a very rigorous, ketovore, I'll say, but it was pretty close to just carnivore for the next 3 months. Got rid of my diabetes completely. Dropped my A1C from like 9.4 all the way down to, I'm pretty sure it was like 4.3 the next time I came back and got blood work done. So that was fantastic. In the meantime, I was also being seen by a GI specialist because while we're trying to figure out where all of this was coming from, my doctor suggested like, oh, well, it might be GERD. It might be, something in your digestion. Guys, when I tell you, I went in June of this year, I went to get an upper endoscopy done. And if you don't know what that is, it's literally they take a little camera, they put you to sleep, and most of the time they put you to sleep, but they'll take the camera and they'll put it down your mouth and down to the upper part of your stomach. Sometimes they'll go lower, sometimes they won't. But I went and had that procedure done. I will have to have a separate video about that day specifically because, they sedate you. They sedate you, and when you wake up, there's a chance you might be a little loopy, and I was one of the lucky ones that woke up and I just had way too much to say to the poor nurse that was helping me, Of course, my friends and I had been making jokes about it the night before because they were trying to help me calm my nerves. And unfortunately, loopy me woke up and decided that it'd be great to tell the nurse everything that we had joked about, which was not appropriate for the situation. And I guess I had also lost my indoor voice because I decided to tell the entire room. It was just a big open room in the back there with everybody like in beds, like all these poor people around me who were just trying to sleep off the procedures they had just had done. And I am just yelling about these jokes that my roommates and I had made. And it was mortifying because like I knew what I was saying, but like there was just no filter. There was no filter. It all came out before I could stop myself. But I will save that for a different video because it is mortifying, but it's so funny. And I'm going to go back and see her. But anyway, results of that procedure. Basically, my GI specialist told me that I had burns, acid burns from the top of my stomach all the way up my esophagus. And please understand, guys, I was stupid at that time. I was just so overwhelmed by everything that was happening, and it had gotten to a point where no matter what I ate or drank, it doesn't matter if it was just a cup of water, it would almost have me on the floor because of the feelings I would have. Sometimes even breathing is hard. Like right now, the more I talk, the more my throat actually starts to get irritated, and it can be very, very hard to, keep my breath and whatnot. I'm already big enough as it is, but then, you're having all kinds of trouble on the inside too, and it's a lethal combo for conversation. So, excuse me. And again, as a total side note, I don't cut any of this out in my videos because I want people to see realistic progress. I want you to see my struggles. I want you to see exactly what this is. Like, I would never body shame somebody, but being big like this, it sucks. This sucks. This sucks a lot. The past year of my life has sucked a lot. And I'm trying to get better about it. And I want other people to see that as a good thing, not something to be ashamed of, not something that's like, oh, well, you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. I am not ashamed of myself. I am not ashamed of the fact that I am actually trying to be better. But anyway, before I rattle off, I have a little board here to try to keep me on track. I'm so sorry. Chaotic again. But anyway. So, at that time, I was very stupid. She said, well, you have burns all the way up and down. And you definitely have GERD, At that time, she had actually given me a prescription for Gaviscon, which I have been calling Megatums, because that's what they are, essentially. And she had asked if my heartburn was okay. Was the Gaviscon helping my heartburn? And like a fool, I said, yes, my heartburn is completely gone, but everything else is still here. you know, the tightness in my chest, the trouble breathing, just the sweats, the shaky hands, the everything. I've been monitoring my blood sugar. My blood sugar has been good. I haven't spiked it like crazy. I don't know why this other stuff is still happening. And I say I was a fool at that time because I didn't know any better. I did not know exactly how bad GERD could be. I didn't know anything about that. And I had had heartburn my entire life. Like, I had had acid reflux my entire life. One of my earliest memories is literally being probably like 8 years old and waking up actually vomiting in the middle of the night because my acid had gotten so bad, and that's just a problem I've dealt with as far as I can remember. So I thought I was an expert when I was like, oh yeah, no, my heartburn's completely gone. It's completely gone. And yet here we are. So we are here a couple months later, and I talked to my doctor about it, and I was like, you know, next time I see her for a follow-up, my GI specialist, I'll talk to her and I'll tell her I'm still having a lot of the same problems, and I do. Up to this very current point in time, up to literally today, I'm still having the issues with no matter what I eat or drink, usually, because I haven't been on any specific type of diet for the past couple of months, there's some kind of irritation. There's some kind of, like, issue. And some days it literally gets to the point where it is debilitating. It will actually trigger a lot of anxiety. I have had a couple of panic attacks, breakdowns, and it's not pretty. It's not something that I'm proud of, and yet I'm not ashamed of it because I can still rationalize. The thing that really gets me, that trips me out about it, is that I can be having that panic attack, and I know it's a panic attack, and I'm trying to rationalize about it, and I'm saying, you know, everything is fine. Nothing's going on. You're not going anywhere. Like, everything is fine, and yet it's still just something that I can't handle. And I am on medication for it. I was prescribed a pill to take each day to try to help with it. And for the most part, I'm fine. It's just when the food or drink comes to play, then it's a problem. I just want to say really quick, by the way, I'm sorry if this video runs a little far over. I'm trying to get every detail that I can sort of out and documented about what's going on with me and the literal problems that I've been having. So, sorry if it's a little long. Thank you if you've stuck with me this long. Any tips to make any of this more entertaining for you guys, leave them in the comments, and I will be sure to do my very, very best every time I talk with you guys, because this is just, I appreciate just being able to get on here and really kind of air out everything that's been happening with me. So, anyway, sorry if I adjust a lot too. Back in August, my doctor wants to just be safe that it's not something with my actual heart. So I went in and actually got an echo done, and I got a stress test, which I don't know what it is with myself in hospitals, but every time I go, something happens. When I got the stress test, if you've ever had one, they basically put you on this, like, incline treadmill, and every 3 minutes the speed and the incline will increase because they want to get your heart rate up to a certain point. They wanted to get mine up to 164, and so by the end of like 6 or 9 minutes or something, I was like running, full-blown running. However, my pants were falling off. So luckily I had this wonderful nurse named Rosa, and she was in there, and she was like, I got you, don't worry, I got you. And she grabbed the back loop of my pants and she kept them up the whole time I was running, which was great. And they're all cheering me on. Yeah, go, go, go. It was great. It was fantastic. But I just have the best time with hospital staff. I really do. But anyway, so now I have a heart monitor on. I'm not going to be able to pull that all the way down, but I actually have one of the little heart monitors on. It's a 30-day. And I have an appointment coming up for kind of a 2-week check with the cardiologist. And she's going to go over some of the results of, like, my echo and everything else. It'll be fantastic to be able to get all that stuff and then share with you guys exactly what's going on, because I'm fairly sure it is not my heart, but because of the GERD and how bad it can be, especially creating something called esophageal spasms, which to me, it just sounds like your esophagus touched your acid, and it's kind of like when you stick your toe in like a really cold pool and you just kind of like crunch up. I think that's what it's doing, basically. But it is super uncomfortable. Super, super uncomfortable. And it basically mimics a lot of symptoms of a heart attack. So even, every doctor that I've seen, they've kind of been like, you just kind of have to get really familiar with the symptoms and learn to tell the difference. You can't be running to the ER every single time, because I've had a lot of them. As I said in yesterday's video, I've had like probably a good between 9 and 12 trips to the emergency room in the past year. It's not good. It's not a collection I want to have at all. And it's just so stressful though, because every time you start to get like, what are you supposed to do when you feel like you're having a heart attack? And it really does feel like that. And I don't want to put anybody out. I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want to take up a bed when I don't need to take up a bed. But just that panic, that almost like primal panic of like, I just want to be okay and I don't want anything to happen to me. But I also don't want to be a hypochondriac. So honestly, all of this just ties back into the diet, and I know that it's one of the biggest changes that I can make, because I have had history on a carnivore diet and a ketovore diet, and the drastic difference that both of them make, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Even for the limited on and off times I have done it, the difference is insane. It's crazy. And I want that. I want to get back to that. I do. I want to feel better. I want to feel... Carrie over at Homestead, I'm gonna have to look him up. I will link him down below, but he's actually doing like a carnivore documentary, and I've watched a few of his videos. He's amazing. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have watched him. He's another person I would love to meet someday, because he's awesome. He's freaking awesome. But anyway, Homestead Show, I think it is, but I forgive me. I'm so sorry. I have so much on my mind at once. It's crazy. But just hearing him talk about a lot of the stuff that he's been through, and go like throwing out all of his prescriptions and everything else when he didn't need them, when he felt like he didn't need them. It's very inspirational, and I am right there with him on just talking about the sheer difference that just that dietary change can make. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anybody who's done this diet, there's a very limited amount of people who have done the diet and have not seen good benefits, but we don't know their actual status. We don't know if they, if they needed to do it for longer, if they had more healing to do. No idea. But before I make this video ridiculously long, guys, I just wanted to kind of go over some of the symptoms that I'm having. I will literally do a different video. I won't put it all here, but I'll do a different video on some of the things that are going on with my body that I'd like to change, that are literally dietary related. Stuff like, obviously, the weight, and some symptoms of like PCOS and other stuff like that. I'm not diagnosed with that, but I have a lot of the symptoms of it that have all, funny enough, been kind of treated with carnivore, with a low-carb diet. And I definitely need to actually get back into that. I know I had said in one of my much, much earlier videos that my, not to be too graphic or anything, but the time of the month had actually been gone. I had lost it for a good 7 years, and the 3 months on carnivore that I did brought it back. And then I fell off, and I haven't had it since. So that's a big change that I'm hoping to get back. I want to get my hormones back in balance. But we'll get into all of that stuff in a different video. So for right now, it's just literally, if any of you guys have had experience with GERD or a lot of the esophageal stuff that goes on, what is it like for you? Is it ever so bad that you really feel like you need to go to the hospital, or that you can't function through your day Do you know anybody that's like that? What do you do for relief? What do they do for relief? Excuse me, so sorry. But yeah, I'll just leave it there, guys, and as far as the diet itself goes, that'll probably be tomorrow's topic of conversation. But thank you so much if you watch this, and thank you for listening to some of my backstory for how I got to this point. And if you're new here, please subscribe. I'd love for you to stick around and actually see where I go from here and how long it actually takes me to get better, to become a better version of myself. And my roommates as well. Like, we appreciate your guys' support so much. I know I say it a lot. Let me know if my gratitude ever gets annoying, but I do. I love and appreciate everything you guys do, everything you say, all the time you spend here. It means the absolute world. Just thank you. Thank you guys so much. And I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.